50 miles from San Francisco, California, is the city of Mountain View. Named for its spectacular vistas of the Santa Cruz Mountains, today it is known as the central hub of Silicon Valley. And it's here, amidst some of the world's most famous tech companies, that visitors will find the Computer History Museum. From archaic diodes and transistors to massive computer consoles, this institution celebrates the building blocks of the information age. But one item is linked to the darker side of the digital revolution.
This artifact is about 2 feet long by 1 foot wide by a foot high. It has a screen in the middle of it, surrounded by knobs and dials.
According to curator Dag Spicer, this common electronic measuring device is connected to a high-stakes game of subterfuge and cunning.
This artifact played a key role in the very first case of international computer espionage.
What is this contraption, and what part did it play in a daring breach of national security? August 1986, Berkeley, California. The internet is in its infancy. Its few users are mainly universities, military bases, and scientific labs. And one such institution is the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, which uses the nascent network to connect to other research centers across the country.
Well, we had really huge number of connections to the outside world, something like 45 or 50 dial-in modems.
Each employee who accesses the network is assigned a unique user ID and is charged a fee for its usage. On only his second day of work at the lab, a systems administrator named Cliff Stoll is reviewing the latest billing summary when he notices something odd. It's off by 75 cents.
There's an error in our accounting system to the tune of nickels and dimes. I'm saying, this is weird.
Even the smallest accounting discrepancy must be investigated.
Start looking and notice in the accounting logs, someone's added a new user to our user base without permission.
Stoll assumes a prankster from within the Berkeley National Labs is responsible. So he promptly deletes the account from the system and considers the case closed. But when a government agency writes to complain someone at the lab is trying to break into its system, he realizes this is more than a simple prank.
Somebody has used our system to sneak into Lord knows where.
Stoll reviews the accounts records and comes to believe that it's the same unauthorized user whose account he deleted, which leads him to a chilling realization. This could be the work of a hacker. To observe the infiltrator's actions, Stoll comes up with a novel plan. He rounds up 50 printers and attaches one to each of the network's 50 phone lines. Every time someone logs onto the network, the printers record their actions. After monitoring the lines over the course of a weekend, Stoll draws a startling conclusion. The infiltrator is not only hacking into Berkeley's system, he is using it to enter a classified military computer network called Milnet. Stoll realizes that using Berkeley's system, the hacker can circumvent the military's security and download highly sensitive files.
I'd never heard of this before.
Who and where is this high-tech infiltrator? As Stoll watches the hacker's activity, he is struck by an epiphany. He can estimate the hacker's distance from the lab with a piece of equipment known as an oscilloscope, just like this one at the Computer History Museum.
An oscilloscope was the Swiss Army knife that you would use to do a very primitive type of geolocation.
Just as an echo indicates the distance across a canyon, the signal delay indicates the distance between the hacker's computer and the Berkeley network. When Stoll himself accesses the system, the signal delay is only a fraction of a second because he's in the same geographic location as the network. But the signal delay from the hacker's machine suggests he is up to 6,000 miles away.
It became immediately apparent that whoever was breaking into my computer was not local.
In fact, it's likely the hacker is well outside the borders of the United States. Realizing he may be contending with a foreign spy, Stoll springs into action.
we've got trouble. I did what anybody else would do. I call the FBI.
The FBI concludes that they can put a trace on the phone line the hacker is using. But there's a problem.
Who's ever doing this is connecting for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then disconnecting. And we lose them.
But in order to trace the call, Stoll will have to keep the hacker logged on for 2 hours. So what will it take for Cliff Stoll to outsmart the nefarious hacker? To keep the hacker engaged for at least 2 hours, Cliff devises an ingenious ruse.
All I need to do is put something that's so interesting and so magnetically cool that somebody breaking into my computer is going to want to spend a long time looking at it.
He creates a plethora of phony files on the Berkeley network, full of carefully chosen keywords like nuclear, Pentagon, and strategic defense to entice the hacker. And on January 16th, 1987, Cliff springs his carefully laid trap.
Monday afternoon, the guy connects and discovers that there's the super secret pile of literature, and he starts downloading it.
With the infiltrator copying file after file, the FBI has ample time to trace the line. And finally, they are able to narrow down the culprit's location to West Germany.
And they trace it all the way back to somebody's apartment in downtown Hanover.
On June 23rd, investigators track down and apprehend the hacker, a 25-year-old chain-smoking computer programmer named Marcus Hess.
It turns out that this guy in Hanover was working to steal information that's militarily sensitive and sell it to the Soviet KGB.
Thanks to Stoll, Hess is apprehended before he is able to divulge any severely damaging information. He is found guilty of espionage and sentenced to 3 years in prison. And Cliff Stoll is lauded for successfully solving one of the first computer hacker cases in U.S. history. Today, this oscilloscope at the Computer History Museum is a tribute to the unwavering dedication of one man who heroically protected our nation's secrets during the Internet's earliest days.